The discovery in the scrapyard Marcus, Chen wiped sweat from his forehead as he sorted through another pile of discarded electronics. The Neo-Singapore Industrial District never slept, but at 2 a.m., the massive recycling facility was quieter than usual. Only the hum of sorting machines and the distant rumble of cargo transports broke the silence. Marcus preferred the night shift. Less supervision meant he could work at his own pace and tinker with interesting components he found at 28. Marcus had an engineering degree he couldn't afford to use. Student loans and family obligations kept him working at TechCycle Industries, breaking down old devices for rare metals and reusable parts. But Marcus saw potential where others saw junk. His small apartment was filled with gadgets he'd built. From salvaged components, tonight felt different. Marcus had been sorting through a shipment of high-end corporate electronics when his fingers tingled. Not the usual static shock from old circuits, but something warmer, almost alive. He paused, looking at the pile of broken tablets and damaged processors. Hidden beneath a cracked display screen was something that definitely didn't belong. The object was roughly the size of a coffee cup, made of what looked like crystalline material that seemed to shift between deep blue and silver, depending on the angle. Its surface was covered in intricate patterns that reminded Marcus of circuit boards, but organic somehow, like the veins in a leaf. As he lifted it, the patterns began to glow with soft light. Marcus had never seen anything like it. The material felt warm to the touch, and he could swear he felt a subtle vibration, like a heartbeat. He turned it over in his hands, examining it from every angle. The patterns were definitely artificial, but the craftsmanship was beyond anything human technology could produce. The crystalline structure seemed to go on forever. Layer upon layer of impossible complexity. Suddenly, the object pulsed brighter. Marcus nearly dropped it as holographic symbols appeared in the air above the crystal. The symbols were unlike any writing system he'd ever seen, flowing and dancing like living things. They pulsed in rhythm with the object's glow, and Marcus found himself mesmerized by their beauty. Then the symbols began to change. They shifted and reformed, becoming more angular, more familiar. Marcus watched in amazement as they slowly transformed into letters he could recognize. English letters, forming words that made his heart race, seeking creative resonance, frequency. The floating text read, "Bioelectric signature detected. Preliminary compatibility confirmed." Marcus stared at the message, his mind racing. This was clearly alien technology, but how had it ended up in a pile of corporate electronics? And what did it mean by creative resonance, frequency? Before he could process these questions fully, new text appeared. "Greetings, Marcus Chen. Your neural patterns indicate high creative potential. We have been searching for your kind." Marcus stumbled backward, knocking over a bin of circuit boards. The crash echoed through the facility, but he barely heard it. The device knew his name. Somehow, impossibly, it knew who he was. "How do you know my name?" he whispered to the floating text. "Biometric analysis of electromagnetic field patterns. Your identification card, electromagnetic signature, cross-referenced with local databases. This process is standard for establishing communication protocols." Marcus looked down at his work badge, which contained an RFID chip. Of course, the device had scanned him and accessed company records. But that level of technological sophistication was staggering. "What are you?" he asked. "This unit is a communication node of the Resonance Collective. We are a coalition of species dedicated to preserving and sharing creative inspiration throughout the galaxy. Our civilization has reached a crisis point. More text appeared, and with it, holographic images. Marcus saw vast cities floating in space, filled with beings that looked like living starlight. He saw massive libraries containing not books, but glowing orbs that pulsed with captured thoughts and dreams. And he saw something else. The light was fading. The cities looked dim, the libraries half empty. For millennia, we sustained ourselves through creative resonance. The text continued. We shared inspiration, art, and innovation across 1,000 worlds. But we have reached a stagnation point. Our creative energy is diminishing. We face extinction through artistic death. The images shifted, showing the device's journey to Earth. Marcus saw it deliberately placed in the electronic waste shipment, waiting for the right person to find it. Someone with the right kind of mind, the right creative spark. You chose me. Specifically, Marcus asked. Not you individually, but your species. Humans possess a unique form of creative resonance. Your ability to find beauty in destruction, to create order from chaos, to innovate under pressure. These qualities are rare in the galaxy. We need human creativity to revitalize our civilization. Marcus felt overwhelmed. First contact with aliens, and they wanted him to save their entire species. It seemed impossible, but as he looked at the device, at the beautiful patterns flowing across its surface, he felt something stirring inside him. This was the most incredible thing he'd ever encountered, and they were asking for his help. What would you need me to do? He asked. Create a resonance bridge. A device that can capture and transmit human creative energy to our collective. We have the technology, but we need human intuition to make it work. Your species has something we have lost, the ability to create something from nothing. New holographic schematics appeared, showing complex crystalline structures and energy flow patterns. Marcus studied them, his engineering mind automatically breaking down the components and understanding their function. It was incredibly advanced, but the principles were ones he could grasp. More importantly, he could see how to improve them. This energy converter here, he said, pointing to part of the schematic. It's too rigid. Human creativity isn't linear. You need something more flexible, more adaptive. The device pulsed brighter, and Marcus felt a wave of something like joy emanating from it. Yes, this is why we need humans. Your perspective is exactly what we lack. But their conversation was interrupted by the sound of heavy boots on concrete. Marcus looked up to see security guards entering the facility, their flashlights sweeping across the sorting area. His supervisor, Mr. Nakamura, was with them, looking nervous. The sensors detected unusual electromagnetic activity, Nakamura was saying. It's coming from this section. Marcus quickly shoved the device into his work bag, but the holographic text was still visible. He tried to wave it away, but the symbols lingered in the air like ghostly afterimages. Chen, one of the guards, called out. What are you doing over there? Just sorting the overnight shipment, Marcus replied, trying to sound casual. Found some interesting components. The guards approached, and Marcus saw they weren't regular security. Their uniforms bore the logo of Titan Corporation, one of the megacorps that controlled most of Earth's off-world mining operations. They were armed with military-grade equipment and moved with the precision of soldiers. Step away from the work area, the lead guard commanded. We're conducting a security sweep. Marcus complied, but his mind was racing. How had Titan Corporation detected the alien device so quickly? And why were they here instead of government officials? The device in his bag pulsed softly. A new text appeared in his peripheral vision, visible only to him. Asterisk corporate entities have been monitoring for non-terrestrial technology. They seek to weaponize our science. This cannot be allowed. The guards were scanning the area with handheld devices that beeped and flashed. One of them stopped near where Marcus had been working, his scanner going wild. Electromagnetic signature is strongest here, he reported, but I'm not detecting any foreign technology. Marcus realized the device was somehow masking its presence. But for how long? The text in his vision changed again. Immediate departure recommended. This unit contains critical data about collective technology. Corporate acquisition would result in galactic conflict. The guard with the scanner was getting closer to Marcus. In seconds, he would detect the device. Marcus had to make a choice. He could surrender the device, go back to his normal life, and let the corporations handle first contact. Or he could trust these aliens who claimed to need human creativity to survive. The device pulsed once more, and Marcus felt something he'd never experienced before. It wasn't just the alien technology's electromagnetic field. It was something deeper, a connection to something vast and wonderful, a glimpse of what the universe could be if different species worked together instead of trying to dominate each other. "Where's the back exit?" he whispered. "Loading dock 7. Automated systems can be overridden. Trust in human ingenuity." As the guard's scanner beeped more insistently, Marcus made his decision. He grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and pulled the pin. White foam sprayed everywhere, filling the area with chaos and confusion. In the pandemonium, he sprinted toward the loading dock. "Stop him," the lead guard shouted, but Marcus was already gone, disappearing into the maze of conveyor belts and sorting machines. Behind him, alarms began to sound. The device in his bag pulsed with warm light, and Marcus felt a strange sense of destiny. He was no longer just a night shift worker at a recycling plant. He was humanity's first ambassador to the stars, and he had a galaxy to save. The loading dock doors were already opening as he approached, the alien device having interfaced with the facility's computer systems. Marcus ran out into the humid Singapore night, not knowing where he was going, but knowing there was no turning back. The real adventure was just beginning. The creative resonance Marcus ran through the empty streets of the industrial district, his heart pounding and the alien device warm against his back. The sound of security vehicles echoed behind him, but he kept moving, guided by the soft glow emanating from his bag. The device seemed to be leading him somewhere, its light pulsing in a rhythm that felt like directions. He ducked into an abandoned warehouse, breathing heavily. The device's glow intensified, and holographic text appeared in the air before him. Immediate relocation to secure area required. Titan Corporation has deployed advanced tracking systems. This unit will guide you to safety. "Where are we going?" Marcus whispered. "To meet others who understand the true nature of the crisis facing the collective." The text shifted, and Marcus found himself looking at a map of the city. A glowing line showed a path through the underground maintenance tunnels that connected the district's major buildings. It was a route he'd never known existed, but the device seemed to have complete access to the city's infrastructure. As Marcus made his way through the tunnels, following the device's guidance, more information appeared in floating text. The Resonance Collective wasn't just one species, but thousands of civilizations that had learned to share creative energy across space. They had built a galaxy-spanning network of inspiration where artists, scientists, and innovators could tap into each other's work, but something had gone wrong. The collective had become too dependent on sharing existing ideas instead of creating new ones. Their creative energy was slowly draining away, and entire civilizations were falling into stagnation and despair. They needed fresh inspiration, and Earth's chaotic, unpredictable human creativity was exactly what they were looking for. "How long have you been watching us?" Marcus asked as he climbed through a maintenance shaft. "Earth has been monitored for 3 of your centuries. Your species shows remarkable creative resilience. You create art during wars, innovation during disasters, beauty in the midst of destruction. This quality is almost unknown in the galaxy." Marcus emerged from the tunnels into what looked like an abandoned subway station. But as he stepped onto the platform, the space transformed around him. Holographic projectors hidden in the walls. ACTIV, creating a stunning display of alien architecture. The station became a meeting hall filled with beings of pure light, their forms shifting and flowing like living aurora. "Welcome, Marcus Chen," a voice said, not through the device, but directly into his mind. "We are the Collective's Earth Observation Team. We have been preparing for this moment." Marcus stared at the beings surrounding him. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time, their forms constantly shifting between solid and ethereal. Some looked almost human, while others were geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. "You're actually here," Marcus said in amazement. "On Earth, we have been here for some time, learning to understand your species. But we cannot approach your governments or corporations directly. They would seek to weaponize our technology or exploit our knowledge. We need individuals who understand that true progress comes from cooperation, not domination." The lead being, whose form resembled a collection of golden threads woven into a roughly humanoid shape, stepped forward. "I am Resonance Prime, coordinator of this contact mission. We have been watching your work, Marcus Chen. Your ability to create functional devices from discarded components demonstrates the exact kind of innovative thinking we need." "But I'm just one person," Marcus protested. "How can I help save an entire galactic civilization?" "Because you understand something we have forgotten," Resonance Prime replied. "You know that the best creations come from necessity, from having to solve problems with limited resources. Our civilization has had unlimited resources for so long that we have forgotten how to be truly creative." New holographic displays appeared around them, showing the decline of the Collective's worlds. Cities that had once blazed with artistic innovation now stood silent and empty. Libraries of crystallized knowledge sat unused. Entire species had retreated into virtual worlds rather than face the challenge of creating something new. "We need you to build a resonance bridge." Resonance Bridge continued. "A device that can capture human creative energy and transmit it throughout the collective. But it must be built by human hands, with human understanding. Otherwise, it will not work." Marcus studied the schematics that appeared before him. The device was incredibly complex, but he could see the underlying principles. It would tap into the bioelectric fields generated by human brains during creative thinking and amplify them into a form that could be transmitted across space. "This is incredible," he said, his mind racing with possibilities. "But you're asking me to change the entire galaxy. What if something goes wrong? What if human creativity isn't compatible with alien minds?" "That is a risk we must take," Resonance Prime admitted. "But consider the alternative. Without fresh creative energy, the collective will collapse within your century. billions of civilizations will fall into permanent stagnation. The galaxy will become a dead place, filled only with the echoes of past achievements. Marcus was still processing this when alarms began sounding throughout the station. The holographic beings flickered and became more solid, their forms taking on defensive postures. Titan Corporation has found us, Resonance Prime announced. They are deploying military-grade scanning equipment. We must begin the bridge construction immediately. Now, Marcus asked. But I need time to study the plans, to understand the technology. There is no time. Trust in your human intuition. Your species' greatest strength is your ability to innovate. Under pressure, the station shook as explosions echoed from above. Titan Corporation wasn't just scanning for alien technology. They were preparing to blast their way in. Marcus realized that the corporate military had been tracking alien activity on Earth for some time, and they were determined to capture it for themselves. They want to weaponize your technology, Marcus said. Yes, they see the collective's science as a means to dominate other species rather than cooperate with them. This is why we cannot allow them to succeed. Resonance Prime gestured, and a complex assembly of crystalline components materialized in the center of the station. It was the resonance bridge, but only partially complete. The alien components were flawless, but they lacked the crucial human element that would make them work. The bridge requires a human creative matrix, Resonance Prime explained. Something that captures the essence of your species' innovative spirit. Only you can provide this final component. Marcus approached the device, his mind working furiously. He could see what was needed, a way to interface human creativity with alien technology. But it couldn't be just any interface. It needed to be something that represented the best of human ingenuity. As explosions grew closer, Marcus began to work. He pulled components from his work bag, pieces of salvaged electronics he'd been carrying for weeks. An old smartphone processor, a broken gaming console's graphics chip, even a simple LED array from a discarded toy. None of these were advanced by alien standards. But they represented something important, human creativity making the most of limited resources. Asterisk. Working with an intensity he'd never felt before, Marcus began integrating the human components into the alien device. The crystalline structures seemed to respond to his touch, reshaping themselves to accommodate the improvised additions. The LED array became a visual display system. The smartphone processor became a translation interface. The gaming chip became a pattern recognition system. Remarkable, Resonance Prime observed. You are not just adding components, you are creating a new form of technology. Neither fully human nor fully alien, but something entirely new. As Marcus worked, he felt the device coming alive around him. The resonance bridge wasn't just a machine, it was becoming a living connection between human and alien consciousness. He could feel the creative energy of the collective flowing through it, and at the same time, he could sense his own human creativity being amplified and transformed. The station shook again as Titan Corporation forces breached the outer defenses. But Marcus was in the zone now, his hands moving with practiced precision as he made the final connections. The device pulsed with brilliant light, and suddenly the entire station was filled with a new kind of energy. Creative resonance. Marcus could feel it flowing through him, connecting him to minds across the galaxy. He experienced the joy of an artist on a world orbiting a binary star. The excitement of a scientist making a breakthrough in a laboratory floating in deep space. The wonder of a child seeing their first sunset on a planet with 3 suns. But It was flowing both ways. The aliens in the collective were experiencing human creativity for the first time. The chaotic, beautiful, desperate innovation that came from a species that had always lived on the edge of disaster. They felt what it was like to create something from nothing, to find beauty in broken things, to never give up even when the odds seemed impossible. "It's working," Resonance Prime said, its form now blazing with renewed energy. "The bridge is complete. Creative resonance is flowing throughout the collective." The station's walls became transparent, revealing the city above. All across Neo-Singapore, alien ships were rising from their hiding places, their hulls gleaming with the same resonant energy that flowed through the bridge. They weren't warships or invasion vessels. They were art galleries, research stations, and cultural exchange centers. First contact doesn't have to be about conquest, Marcus realized. It can be about sharing. But their celebration was cut short as Titan Corporation forces finally breached the station. Armed soldiers poured in, their weapons trained on the aliens. Their leader, a woman in corporate military uniform, stepped forward. "Stand down," she commanded. "You are in violation of Earth defense protocols. Surrender the alien technology immediately. This technology belongs to all sentient species," Resonance Prime replied. "It cannot be owned or controlled by any single entity." "Everything can be owned," the corporate leader replied, "and everything can be controlled. This alien tech will give Titan Corporation the ability to dominate interstellar space. We will not allow it to fall into the hands of idealistic dreamers." But as she spoke, something unexpected happened. The soldiers behind her began to lower their weapons. The resonance bridge was affecting them too, opening their minds to new possibilities. They were experiencing the same creative connection that Marcus had felt, and they were beginning to understand what it could mean for humanity. "Stand down," the corporate leader repeated, but her voice lacked conviction. She could feel the resonance too, and it was changing her. "This is not about domination," Marcus said, stepping forward. "This is about cooperation, about sharing the best of what we are with the galaxy and learning from what they have to offer." The resonance bridge pulsed brighter, and suddenly the station was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Scientists, artists, philosophers, and innovators, all connected by the creative energy that flowed between them. They were sharing ideas, techniques, and inspiration in ways that had never been possible before. Marcus looked around at the incredible sight and realized that this was just the beginning. The resonance bridge had opened a door between humanity and the galaxy, and that door could never be closed again. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as the galaxy's greatest source of creative inspiration. The corporate leader finally lowered her weapon, tears streaming down her face as she experienced the full impact of the creative resonance. "I understand now," she whispered. "This isn't about power. It's about becoming something greater than we ever imagined." As the first day of the new galactic age dawned over Neo-Singapore, Marcus stood at the center of the resonance bridge, no longer just a night shift worker, but humanity's first creative ambassador to the stars. The galaxy was waiting, and human creativity would light the way forward for civilizations across the cosmos. The adventure was far from over. It was just beginning.